Hey guys, Chris from Beast Audio Installation, and in today's video we're going to be replacing the factory 6.5-inch speaker on this Mazda CX-3. Now in this install, what we're going to show you is how to remove this door panel, remove the factory 6.5-inch speaker, then we'll head over to the bench to show you the new parts that we're going to use, come back here and get everything reinstalled. Let's get started. So before we get started, we don't have the factory Bose. This is just a basic sound system from Mazda, so we don't have to do any special adjustments to our install. If you do have the Bose sound system, you may have to be a little bit more conscientious of what type of speaker you can put in here that will be compatible with your factory Bose amplifier. First thing we need to do is get this door panel on off. Now there's going to be a screw here and a screw up underneath your switch panel here. I have an angled pick tool to help get us started. What I'll do is kind of just stick it in there to pull out, just like so. Now this lower switch panel is a lot more difficult to work on because there's actually a ton of different clips up and around both sides. So I'm going to utilize both like a vinyl panel tool as well as my pick tool to kind of help pry and work its way on out. Okay, now you're left with two screws. Go ahead and remove those. Okay, now with those screws removed, there's no other clips in the door. On the outside, everything is back up underneath. They're just body clips. Now, kind of start on the corner and work your way out. Again, we have some panel tools that help give us leverage in certain spots, so we can relieve those clips. All right, next here we need to remove the factory 6.5. You can disconnect our speaker here. And then there are three 10mm bolts up and around the factory speaker. So at this point in time, with the speaker removed, let's head over to the bench to show you the parts that we're going to need for our install. Alright, so here at the bench, the speaker that we're going with is the 6.5-inch Polk speaker. It's the DB series 652 6.5-inch coaxial. The tweeter is mounted within the mid-range there. Now to accommodate this in the factory location, we need a bracket adapter, and this one's the American and International by pack. It's the NSB 710. As you notice, it'll fit both a 6.5 and 5.25, and we'll bolt up to that same factory location. We'll need a wiring harness adapter as well. It's the Metra 72-5602 that allows us to make this more so a plug and play. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and get our speaker mounted in our bracket. We don't need these inner tabs for a 5.25, so we can actually break those on off. And we'll also get our wiring harness adapter hooked up to the terminals back behind the speaker itself, and go from that point. Now, as we break these on off, you'll also notice there's no hole in the bracket, and our speaker wire, or factory speaker plug, so on the outside of the speaker, it doesn't actually come through the door panel itself. So we're going to go ahead and put a little hole in the side so our speaker wire doesn't get pinched back behind the bracket and the door panel. Okay, so we got our speaker all mounted up in the bracket there. We've got our wiring harness going through that hole that we made. Goes up right up to those terminals. Now the extra loop in the wiring harness, if you've noticed, it's in the event your model or your vehicle, because this fits both Ford and Mazda, in the event you have like a tweeter or mid-range in the door besides your mid-range woofer, or it loops through and powers the tweeter up in like the dash or something like that, it retains that functionality. Ours obviously only has 2 wires going in and not 4, and so it's there. We just taped it up. You could cut it out, but you probably risk that exposed wire getting corroded. So we just left it there. It's not hurting anybody, and our speaker is nice and clean and complete. We use some tested tape to protect those harnesses, especially as it passes through that speaker, to avoid any chafage. So at this point of time, let's head back to the car, get this thing installed. Okay, so with those all in there, the speaker is really nice and solid. We can hook up our speaker wiring connection. Just like so. Okay, at this point in time, always do a test before you put the door panel on, just to ensure everything's functioning correctly. Now, before you put the door panel back on, if any of your clips had stayed in the door, pop them on out, put them back in the door panel, and then once you get them all reinstalled in the door panel, you can snap it back into place. All right, that's about it for this install. We got the door panel all back on. It all sounds great. Now, if you want to see how we did the front doors, we'll link that video down in the description, which walks you through step by step on how to replace and install an aftermarket speaker in that factory location. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you like what you saw, and don't forget to subscribe. Post great content on the channel all the time, and we'll see you in the next video.